So once you've gone and registered your domain, got your hosting account, now you're going to be ready to start creating content on your web page. So initially you're going to have a completely blank directory, and you're not going to have any content within your online directory. So your domain will just come up blank. You're not going to have anything there. So this is where creating HTML code comes into play. So whether you're using one of the content management systems, or if you're creating your own HTML, CSS code, and you're going to be writing it on your computer, you need to have the right tools in place. And even if you are using a content management system, it's always a good idea to have your own editor on your own machine, and that way you can actually download the code, work with it, update it, and upload it as well. Now, there's a lot of options for editors, and one of the editors that I've been using recently is called Brackets. It's an Adobe product, it's open source, and it's across multiple platforms. So whether you have a Mac or a Windows machine, you could download and extract it right on your machine and go ahead and start using this open source text editor to begin to create your CSS, your HTML code, and so on. So this is one of the links. I'm also going to be providing within the resources a bunch of other text editors. So you'll find that there's quite a lot of them, and you can use something as simple as a notepad or a text pad, and you can also get into something more complex such as Sublime or purchase Dreamweaver. So there's a lot of different options and directions to go. So I would advise that you start out with one of the open source free ones, see how it works for you, and once you get into the swing of things, then look to upgrade in other editors. So this is brackets.io. I just go over and download it, and this is my brackets running on my machine. And one of the good things about HTML and CSS, and as well JavaScript, all you need to do is have a web browser in order to run the code. So even though the code is, as long as it's named an HTML file, your browser will know what to do with it. So you can simply create a simple HTML file, run it in your browser, and that will open up. So even if you've got CSS and JavaScript, it'll open up and it'll run within your browser. So you don't necessarily need to run like a local machine or a local host unless you're going to be using PHP, or if you need a database and you need to make a copy of it on your local machine, then you could go and look at running different virtual machines and local hosts. So one of the other ones that I use is called XAMPP. So this is my version of XAMPP here. So this is another free open source, and all I have to do in order to start this, I just hit start, and then I can go over to localhost, and that's going to be that localhost file, and it's going to run off of the root directory of localhost, so that my main file, which right now is this index.html, this is the same file that's running on XAMPP, and you can see it here that it's running on, so localhost is on my computer, and it's running the file and processing the file. So even if I have server-side code like PHP, XAMPP can handle that. Even if I just go to the plain file and if I click it, or if I locate it on my computer, I can still run that within the browser. So the browsers are all smart enough, so as long as you have Chrome or Firefox or Opera or any of the other ones, it's going to be able to translate it and run that HTML, CSS, and JavaScript code right on your own machine. Now also, when it comes to writing code, practicing code, there's what's known as these online editors. Now there's quite a few of these as well, and we can see that whenever I type in any code here, I can see that it automatically translates and shows up here at the bottom. I can also change the view as well, so if I want to have it on the right hand side or the left hand side, so I can change the view as needed, and then I can simply add in CSS, and this is all going to work within real time. And you'll see that when we create the code, it's going to automatically update it. So if I was to go to CSS and if I was just to change the background color, we would see that right away that takes place. So I'm going to provide a listing to these resources as well within the resource files in the next lecture, so that you can work with those. And this is a great place as well to practice your coding, to try out different code. And even if you are using the content management systems, sometimes they don't have the best editors. So taking the code, putting it in your own editor and working with it on your machine, and then copying and pasting it back into the content management system is a great way to go.